Welcome, everyone. We are live this lovely Friday morning. Let us always remember it's the weekend, right? Let us do a brief refresh and a recap with an exercise that we can try, or should I say, practice. Remember, as you go through the weekend, you will encounter experiences. You just will. Remember, part one, you put the experience there, so don't fret about it. Revise it. It's not a judgment thing. Remember that. That is one of the most critical things to remember. You put it there, so don't judge it. Don't judge it at all. You say, oh, snap, autocorrect initiated, and just do it. Revise it. Right? That's part one. Part two is, as you go through the weekend, you've got this. Remember that you are in a mood. You are in a state. Remember that. So is the other person. But remember, there technically speaking is no other. There is only one. Different face, but there's only one. And if you encounter a state that, ruffles your feathers, well then, check yourself. Always check the self. Because when you revise it, you change from within, thereby the exterior experience changes to match you always. It will never not match you. And thirdly, the exercise. In our memories, right? We can go back and find a situation that was disappointing. And we can viscerally feel the disappointment. Oh, sure, of course we can. Well, I did it yesterday. I did it again this morning, so I know what I'm talking about. We can vividly remember moments of disappointment. Raw, we can remember them. But the exercise is this. If you can recall and remember that feeling, that visceral feeling of disappointment, here's the exercise to practice. Bring up the feeling of disappointment so you know what the difference is, because we're going to contrast, right? You know what it feels like. But then let it go because it's not relevant anymore. So now what you're going to do is reach for the feeling of the satisfaction, because you are vividly aware of what the other one feels like. So that means you will find that you'll probably have to lay there or sit there a little bit longer until you can feel the satisfaction. Why is this exercise important? Well, we think, remember last night's lecture, we want to wait until a situation happens and then have a response. Okay, that's what we want to do, right? But the directive is have the feeling and the experience comes. Why? Even Dr. Joe Dispenza tells you, you have to make there, here. You have to make then, now. And the only way to do that is by feeling it. Why feeling it? Like viscerally in your body. Because just as we remember from the lecture last night, if you are walking down the street, somebody says, bitch, all of a sudden your hackles rise up, you go, oh, who are you talking to? See? The feeling is right there. And from that feeling is what we planned. So here's why you practice. Now, if you already can feel what disappointment feels like, it's just for scientific purposes. You're not planting seeds there because now you're just comparing and contrasting. You're saying to yourself, okay, I know what that feels like. But here's the feeling I actually want to feel. Because you have to, what's the word? Compare and contrast. Look at how easy it is to bring up a feeling of disappointment. See how easy that is? And so now you want the feeling of satisfaction to come up easier than that. So you have to lay there or sit there a little bit longer and feel. Now, here's a Bible story to help you when you practice. Do you remember the Bible story of the woman with the issue of blood? She bled for 12 years. How she is alive, nobody knows. But it's a story, isn't it? She's been bleeding for 12 years. But then one day she just got mad and said, I'm done with this foolishness. Let's just make a change. She set an intention. She said, if I could but touch the hem of his garment. Ooh, incredible sound. If I could but touch the hem of his garment, I know I would be healed. That is what she did. She said, if I could touch the hem of his garment, I know I'd be healed. So when you know something, there's a feeling that accompanies that knowing. So here's what she did. She went into the marketplace because that's where Jesus was. He was in the marketplace. So the first things first is she had to find Jesus. Huh? He's in the marketplace. She's trying to find her savior. What is your savior? The thing that you want. Okay? The desire. So she goes into the crowded marketplace and she's searching for Jesus. Looking everywhere. But you don't have to look far. Jesus is surrounded by throngs and throngs of people. You know, in other words, the desire you want, so do many others. Right? Not hard to miss at all. Now, she made a distinction. She said the hem of his garment. She didn't say the collar. The collar would be around his neck, so you'd see his face. You'd see his face clearly. So she didn't say the collar. She said the hem. So if you think about it, everybody wore the same type of garb. Same color, probably. A long robe, yes? With sandals, allegedly. Which means, if you see what you have to do here, she got down on all fours. Well, all the feet look alike. So which hem do you choose? So remember, she said, if I could touch. Now you got to feel it in your hands, right? Your fingers. She reaches out because she's on all fours and she's reaching through the crowd. Remember, you can't see beams. It's dark down there. God only knows what it smells like. But I digress. So she is reaching out and she touches one person. She says, nope. That doesn't feel like what I want. So she reaches out again and she touches somebody else. Nope. That's not what I want to feel. She touches somebody else. That's not what I want to feel. She reaches out a time again. And as soon as she touched it, she felt it in her body. How do you know she felt it in her body? Because the corresponding effect also happened in Jesus. He said, oh, somebody touched me. I felt virtue leave me. That's what he said, right? But that's exactly what she felt. That's how come, you see, the thing she was looking for and the thing that she touched matched, corresponded, so that she knew She had found what she was looking for based upon the feeling of it. So we can't just presume, because that's what I speculated, that she had to touch more than one hem, because all of the hems are the same. But here's the concept. When you touch or when you feel what you want to feel, so the image you have in your mind and the way it feels, those two things will match. You're going to feel something. It's visceral. Can you imagine? She's walking around, remember, a little gory, but you get the point. It's psychological. She's been walking around with this thing that's been draining her, hope deferred perhaps, psychologically, right? And it is draining. It leaves you exhausted. But when she touched the hem of his garment, she was infused with life and vibrancy from the feeling. It invigorated her. Well, we know this because of what the story says. I felt virtue leave me. I felt my essence leave me. That's how she knew she was healed. Because she felt it. And he also felt that he had healed someone. So you notice both things match. He felt as if he had healed someone, and she felt as if she were healed. Because imagine bleeding for 12 years and then all of a sudden it stops. You'll notice, because you know what it feels like to bleed all day. But then you also will viscerally know what it feels like when it stops. So the exercise is this. Being on all fours is a position of surrender, you know. You're vulnerable there. You're vulnerable in that position. And it means you're not looking for something with your eyes, because you can't see. You're on all fours. You're not looking. When you're looking for something, you're standing up and your head is moving around in your eyes. You are looking. But on all fours, you are feeling. So you're feeling, you know how you just, the light bulb is just blown and you're like, where's the thing? Or you're reaching out in the dark for your phone. What do? You feel around till you touch it. Because when you're reaching for the phone and you can't feel it, it's a sense of urgency, isn't there? You can feel that. But the moment you put your hands on it, you go, there it is. So you see what you're doing with the exercise? You are feeling for the corresponding sensation. So if you say, I now have my ideal job or career, what is that going to feel like to you as you walk into that new office space, or you fire up your Zoom and you walk in there and you sit there and they say, welcome. It is such a pleasure to have you. We look forward to working with you. Feeling that relief, feeling that excitement of starting your new role. Listen, any bride or groom, some of them spend years planning, right? But there's always this undercurrent of excitement. You understand? See what it feels like? The reason you feel it now instead of waiting is because if you wait for the thing to happen, what is that called again? Hope deferred. You're waiting for it to happen. But what if it doesn't happen? So you're never going to feel good? So remember the law of correspondence here. As within, so without. But also remember the law of causation and how you can reverse engineer. If you have a thing, you can have the feeling of that thing. The thing brings about a feeling. But remember, the feeling also brings about a thing. You know, electricity generates heat, but heat generates electricity. See, reverse engineer. Every cause has its effect, every effect its cause. So to show yourself that you have moved from hoping and wishing to a state of acceptance, you have to feel it. Now, that's twofold. The feeling is twofold, meaning you know it. Remember what she said, if she knew, if I touch the hem of his garment, I'll be healed. That's what she knew. But what she knows now has to have a corresponding feeling in the body, as within, so without, as above, so below. So the thing that you want to experience, even though it appears to be a way off in the distance, it is not in any distance because there is no distance. It is always happening now. Right? So you make then now by initiating a feeling. So what do you know? You know, because you've got the experience, you know that happiness feels this way. You know that disappointment feels that way. You know that excitement feels this way. Well, create the attitude that brings about the feeling you want to experience. That is the exercise. The exercise is to lay there or sit there or recline and feel. You don't have to force a feeling. Hello. You don't have to force a feeling. If I say to you, whatever, if I say to you, boot camp is going to be lit, and you get excited, you don't have to wait for that feeling, do you? You don't have to force the feeling. You're already excited about it. So you see, the feeling always accompanies the thing that you know, that you have persuaded yourself is true. So the attitude that you want to have has a corresponding feeling in your body. For instance, if you are waiting right now to hear from someone about a situation, if you're waiting to hear something, what do you feel like right now in that waiting space? How do you feel? Do you feel a little bit trepidatious? Like, oh my God, I don't know what to expect. This is nerve-wracking. I feel all jittery. You see? The thing isn't here yet, but yet you have a feeling. But look at the feeling you feel. Look at the feeling you're feeling now. Then that is the experience you will have. So in order to hedge your bets, you don't hedge a bet with plan B or plan C or plan D. You hedge your bet with the corresponding feeling. Because a feeling can bring about a thing, just as a thing can bring about a feeling. So if I say to you, you're going to walk down the street and you're going to meet Mr. Right or Miss Right. Oh, what's that feel like? You're either going to say, girl, you're crazy. Or, well, how's that going to happen? Or, oh, yes, I'm ready. Let me make sure my hair is on point. Let me make sure my beard is on point. Let me make sure my swagger is on point. See the three options in there? So when you hear something, it has a corresponding feeling. When you see something, it has a corresponding feeling. Now you smell something, it also has a corresponding feeling. This is why Neville says, hear what you want to hear, see what you want to see. Because when you have the attitude of what it is, or the mood or state, all interchangeable, those three words, then the matching feeling happens. You don't have to force the feeling. Right? So, remember, You are the woman in the crowded marketplace looking for hems. You're looking for hems. You're not looking for a collar which would make life simpler. Oh no. You're looking for the hem. That means you're going to have to feel. Think about it. Any seamstress will tell you, even if she closes her eyes, she knows what a hem feels like. It's different from a sleeve, because a sleeve also has a hem, when you, because you don't leave it frayed, you sew it. Any seamstress or tailor will tell you, well, I know what a hem feels like. They know what it feels like. And they also know if a hem is crooked, what it feels like to them. Oh, that's like sacrilegious, right? Just like any chef, if you make it too salty, he's like, what did you do? Gordon Ramsay, anyone? So, why did I tell you that? Because every attitude is accompanied by a visceral feeling in your body. Yes? So, get the attitude and the feeling will naturally follow. So when you lay, recline, or sit, bring up the attitude that you want. What attitude is that? Well, how do you want to feel? What do you want to hear? What do you want to hear? What do you want to see? That's the attitude. So if you want to hear, congratulations, or that's usually what we want to hear, isn't it? Congratulations. Or you want to hear, whew, it was a misdiagnosis. We were wrong. Our apologies. What do you want to hear? Welcome to your new school. Oh, congratulations. Your loan was approved. Whatever the attitude is, it has a corresponding feeling. So, play in your mind's eye what you want to hear. And play it over and over and over again until you feel the corresponding sensation. Because then when you feel the corresponding sensation, what does Neville say? He says, now you have entered the Sabbath, which means you are now self-impregnated. Virgin birth, isn't it? So remember the woman in the marketplace. She touched one hem. Nope, that's not it. That doesn't match. She touched another hem. That doesn't even match. And she touched and she touched and she touched until she felt it fill her body and he felt it leave his body. I hope you see the law of gender there. The projection, masculine, and the acceptance. You see it? The law is beautiful. Let us take a moment, shall we, to welcome everyone into the space. Who's here on Twitter? V224. Listen, we have got to connect about some of these recipes. We really do. It is lovely to see you here on Twitter this morning. I appreciate you. YouTube and Facebook. Well, nobody's made themselves known in the chat, but they're there. I see you. Thank you for being here on YouTube and Facebook. Who's here in Fanbase this morning? Oh, Happy is in the house. Miss Ange is in the house. KZ, Butterfly, Moon, Ali is here. Joaquin is here. Flo smiles. Oracle Treehouse, Shea Butter. I trust that when you go through this weekend, you will remember to practice. Hear what you want to hear, see what you want to see, and feel it. Because the thing that you heard has projected a feeling into your body. Your body accepts that feeling because now you know it is true. If I could feel this, I know that I have it. If I could feel this, I know I have it. Well, how do you think we're living every day? We feel, and then we act according. We have what we feel. Right? So practice this weekend. Let us no longer walk in a state of hope deferred. Let us accept what it is we want. Give it to yourself. Listen, remember scripture. No one can take your life from you. You're the one who can lay it down or pick it up. What do you mean life, Angela? It means you are the deciding factor with the things that you want. You will either accept them or reject them. So who's giving and taking here? You are. So remember that. Please remember, he says. Remember the attitude. Feel it. Right? The attitude has a sensation. Cause and effect. Correspondence. There is always going to be a corresponding sensation in the body. You smell your favorite cologne, you're like, oh. You taste your favorite food, you're like, oh. It always has a corresponding sensation. So hear what you want to hear and see what you want to see, and allow that sensation to naturally emerge from you. And that's why when you tell yourself, just like the woman with the issue of blood in the crowded marketplace, if I could touch the hem of his garment, I know I would be healed. So if I could feel my congratulations, I know I have it. Period. Right? That is what it is. You see? Let me go back here through the chat. Okay. Well, let's put it to the test, shall we? Because, right, I'm reading what you say here, Ali. You said you're so sad. You see what that viscerally feels like in your body? Okay, you can feel that, right? Yes, sure. But now, what if you heard or you saw your results as being a positive outcome? That's the part that we struggle with. I ask you, what would it feel like if that were a positive outcome? And the first thing sometimes we say is, well, I don't know what it would feel like. I've never felt it before. And that's why you touch and you touch and you touch and you touch until you feel it. Which means if you've never felt any kind of celebration, I'm sure it is somewhere online where you can see someone celebrating about something. You see, you can watch somebody celebrate. If you just allow yourself to watch it, to observe it, you'll be able to feel their happiness. But most of us, when we see somebody celebrating, we want to say, oh, lucky them. Feel it right along with them. You're living vicariously through them. You have mirror neurons. When your mirror neurons are observing what you are observing, they respond the way you see it. So remember, there isn't another person celebrating. There's only you celebrating. So you sit there and you say to yourself, or you see in your mind's eye, your score that you want that would entail that you passed, or the letter that you opened that says congratulations. Right? Think about it. You feel sad, so what's the response? Viscerally, to cry. It's natural because they're corresponding. So now that you've had your good cry, breathe. What is it that you want to hear? You want to hear congratulations. That's what you want to hear. So you lay there until you can feel congratulations. This is where now we're going to have to exercise what Jacob did. The angel was coming down the ladder and Jacob caught him and said, I will not let you go until you bless me. Do you know what it was in that story? Jacob wrestled with that angel all night long until he felt the blessing. Of course, the angel was like, if you don't let me go, he put his hip out just so he would let him go. So which means what? He gave him what he wanted. Of course, when you read the story, it doesn't say that, but think about it. What did Jacob say? I will not let you go until you bless me. So that angel touched him. He touched him, which would imply he was blessed, because he said, I will not let you go until. So after he was touched by the angel and he let go, well, then obviously he was blessed. So you see what it entails? We're actually wrestling within our own minds to feel what we want to feel. That's what it is. So that means if it's going to take you a half an hour, if it's going to take you an hour, if it's going to take you 2 hours, listen, take a break and come back. Or if you have the time, stay where you are. Don't move. But you do not give up on feeling what it is you want to feel. You want to hear that congratulations. You want to have people patting you on the back. You want to get that bouquet of flowers. Because that's technically speaking what they give you when you win something. They always give you a bouquet of flowers. So if your strongest sense is a sense of smell, well then imagine you are receiving a bouquet of flowers that confirm you have been congratulated. Whatever it is that you want to hear, hear it. Whatever it is that you want to see it. Because look at what you are doing already. How many times do we sit there and remember the bad news we've been given? And then we feel bad all over again. I'm asking you to feel good news instead. But that's so hard. Listen, I'm not just talking to you. I'm talking to me too. But what I'm saying to you is we do it naturally. When we go through the worst case scenarios, we feel all of them, don't we? Because why? The state that we are in, the mood that we are in as we conjure up the worst case scenarios, they are accompanied by their feelings. Their corresponding feelings in the body. But if you, as in we, as in humanity, would practice best case scenarios, this is why Neville said, what would it be like if I had my congratulations? Right? What would it be like if you had your congratulations? You'd be so lit up. Wouldn't you? Yes. So you lay there and you wrestle with that angel. Wrestle with the higher thought. Wrestle with touching that higher thought and allowing it to unfold as a sensation in your body. Wrestle, you're not forcing. Wrestle is keeping the mind where you put it, because you're always trying to pin it down, aren't you? When you wrestle, that's all you're doing. Pin down the exact feeling by way of what did you hear or what did you see. I'm going to say it to you again until one of two things happens. You get mad at me and you sign out, or you say, let me see if there's any merit to this. And you test it out for yourself. There's no point in going through the weekend dragging a millstone about your neck. No. There's no need for that. So cry until you're done. For real, for real. Cry until you're done. But what if those were tears of joy? What if those were tears of celebration? Well, then if you convince yourself that is why you're crying, mission accomplished. Right? I'm just reading. I'm reading in the chat here on Fanbase. Yes. That's what we do. I appreciate you sharing this morning, Ali. I do. I appreciate you sharing. I can feel what you feel. So now, how we can help Ali is this. Remember, we just heard something, right? We just heard, oh no, I did not. But now, I want you to hear, oh my God, I did it. Well, if you can hear one sentence in your head, you can hear another sentence. So you help each other. We bear one another's burdens by doing what? Hearing their success for them. Hear their success. That's what we do. Hear their success. And when you hear their success, get the feeling. How would you feel if you were saying, oh my God, I knew you could do it. I'm so happy for you. How would that make you feel to say that? Well then, when you say that, does it have that feeling of excitement for you? As soon as you catch the feeling of the excitement of saying, oh my God, I'm so excited for you. Congratulations. I knew you could do it. I knew you could. See, you're worried for nothing. If you feel that knowing, then it is done. And there's nothing else to do after that but to relax. So that is how we bear one another's burdens. Right? That is how we bear one another's burdens. By hearing the good news of another, or seeing their good fortune and celebrating with them. Listen, always take the time to practice celebration. Well, don't judge the celebration. Take the time to practice the celebration and feel it. That, symmetric, Vashika, that is where I will leave you this morning. Because remember, as you go through the weekend, Practice hearing what you want to hear. Practice seeing what you want to see. And the way that you will know that you've heard and seen what you wanted, you will have the corresponding sensation. If I could touch the hem of his garment, I know I'll be healed. Right? I will not let you go until you bless me. And all those two things simply mean is I will conjure up that attitude until I feel the way that attitude symbolizes. Right? You know, if you, depending on where you are and what platform you're on, if you read a comment that made you upset, what emoji are you going to use? The angry face emoji, isn't it? If you read a comment that made you laugh, you're going to use the laugh icon. Are you not? So, the attitude has a way that it feels. Practice feeling it. And the moment that you catch that feeling, you pin it down. The referee says 1, 2, 3. And you've won because you pinned it down. It is done. You are the champion. Now you have a new analogy. If you ever do any kind of wrestling, or you know what I mean, the down for the count. You hold the pin, hold the feeling. And once you hold it and the ref counts and he puts your hand in the air and the crowd goes, wah, 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 you know, now you're done. And you will go through your day and just continue living life. Because you know what? The seed has been planted, and in due time, you won't have to labor to bring in your harvest, but you will reap it beautifully. So I trust that today makes sense. Okay? I trust that it makes sense. When you hear the bowl this morning, Impossible Bird Song, practice. What are you hearing with the bowl? What are you seeing with the bowl? And practice catching or pinning down the corresponding feeling. Right? Let's get the bowl. Let's get that bowl, my friend. Countdown initiated. 5, 4, 3, 2. It's Symmetric V224 here on Twitter. Thank you for being here, Von Chica, and for the others on YouTube and Facebook who've not made themselves known. I see you. Remember, boot camp, April 27th. Use the link to sign up. Also, pre-order your Hermetic Oracle cards. Barbados, I'm paying on the weekend, so I don't want to wait for Monday. So get your money in so we can reserve our hotel. Peace out. Much love to you all.